Hi everybody, how you doing? This is Phil here, live on the Ginger Nut Marketing Podcast and live on the Facebook page as well. I'm in sunny Liverpool yet again, deep in the heart of the stunning Georgian Quarter. I'm in Faulkner Square and it's a glorious day here today. Absolutely stunning. And it's making me think about the last couple of weeks. So I haven't really posted a great deal in the last few weeks, and there's no particular reason for that, but it has been, in some senses, a tough few weeks. I just wanted to talk about that for a few moments and a few minutes. I've got all the usual problems. I've got a job, I've got a family, I've got personal pastimes and personal ambitions, and every now and again they all meet in the middle, and they all reach a point where they feel like a chore more than a set of objectives that are meant to bring joy, excitement, passion, interest into our lives. And pushing through these periods is something that I've been really working hard on the last couple of years. Whether it's mental resilience, or whether it's the ability to bounce back, or whether it's keeping a balanced mental outlook. Everyone's got their own different challenges and their different way of approaching the tough times. It makes me wonder about what people did 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago, before we had all the trappings of modern day society. Before we were all instantly connected on social media, before we were all kind of instantly judged on things like social media and reality bloody TV. No mention of Love Island. I'm not watching it. Don't judge me if you are, and join me if you aren't. What did we do? How did we get by? Did we have less anxiety? Did we have less stress 1,000 years ago? Did we have different types of stress? Different types of problems that we had to overcome? It makes sense to think that before the modern world that we had more basic kind of challenges around survival, around food, around shelter, around health and well-being, around trying to raise children. And I wonder whether things are better these days or worse. But what it also makes me reflect on is, to a large extent, we're all going through this similar kind of process. We're all trying to make our way through our lives, overcome challenges, seek new experiences, and find balance. I've been listening and researching on the subject of life and what it means to be alive, and perhaps what the definition is, the meaning of life. And the one that struck a chord with me recently was that life is about growth, constant growth. And I think to grow, you need to move forward, and you need to move beyond what you currently know, or where you currently are in terms of your life, your experience, or your situation. And a lot of the time, that growth brings with it the need to push through barriers, the need to push through to the next level, the need to make the next step up in our career, in our personal lives. And inevitably that pain, and inevitably that growth and that next milestone can come with some pain. And that pain can be bloody hard. It can be mental pain, emotional pain, physical pain, if it's a physical objective, a physical challenge. But I think, and I firmly believe, that the biggest rewards come from our biggest achievements. And normally our biggest achievements come from conquering our biggest fears. Think about the last time you climbed a mountain, whether it was a few hundred feet high, or whether it was Snowdon, or whether you've been to Nepal and you've conquered Everest. Whatever your level of challenge is, if it's harder than anything you've ever done before, it's likely to have been a tough challenge, and you're likely to have suffered on the way up, physically and metaphorically. And there's likely to have been times when you wanted to give up and you wanted to turn back. But if you can find that mental strength, that resilience, that drive to keep going and pushing through adversity, and if you can take the pain, and if you can make it to the top, to the summit of your challenge, just maybe for the briefest of moments you can stop, take a look around, and just be in awe of what you've just achieved. I strive for that every day. Every day I strive for that. Not to conquer Everest every day, but to try and push myself through a pain barrier. I don't always let myself do it. I often quit halfway up. I often quit. But every now and again I'll push myself through. And I've been reflecting about how I do it, how I push myself through that pain barrier. I think partly you have to start off with small wins, small challenges, small goals, small mountains. And every time you conquer a small mountain, make sure you take a moment at the top to turn around and look at the view. And make sure you pat yourself on the back. And if you look at all the big global influencers in the world, they all say you need to reward yourself at every achievement, at every key milestone. Make sure you pat yourself on the back, make sure you praise yourself. Make sure you take a moment to take in the bloody view. The second thing I think you need to do is to be open and honest about your problems and share with family, friends, colleagues what your objectives are, what your challenges are, what your Everest is. Because the minute you tell people, it comes out of your head and it comes into the real world. And a strange thing happens. For some reason, a sense of calm washes over you. Well, it does for me anyway. Because the problem's no longer just yours. You've shared it with someone. And the interesting psychological twist about sharing a problem is, you may think, I'm afraid of doing that. I don't want to share my problems for fear of being judged, or for fear of being disliked, or for fear of being isolated from a society, from a group. But what I've come to realise is, and what my research shows me, is that when you share a problem with someone, the other person really, really does not give a monkey's. Unless it directly affects them and their life. It's just an abstract problem. It's like being presented with, a puzzle book and saying, I've got this puzzle, do you want to help me solve it? And the other person's like, yeah, right, yeah, why not? And to continue with the puzzle analogy, I found that when you present a problem to somebody or a personal challenge, people love to help. They see it as their personal mission to help you with a solution. Now I know a solution isn't always what's needed. Sometimes it is just to be able to listen and learn, or listen and empathise, and listen and just have someone to share your problem with. But every now and again you do need an alternate perspective, and that alternate perspective can be the difference. It can be a massive difference between whether you break through the problem, or break through to the other side, or climb that mountain. So tell people, share your problems, get them to see it from a different perspective, a different angle, because they're not in your brain. They're going to see things far, far clearer, with a far clearer perspective, with clarity of precision that you can't even dream about at this point. So the second piece of advice is share it with somebody. The third piece of advice I want to give is document your process. Write down what your challenges are, big and small, and then when you overcome them one by one, write down how it felt. Write down the journey on up. Write down the journey up, and then what it felt like at the top. What did it feel like when you stopped for that moment and turned around? What was the emotion? What was the memory? Try and connect it And it's a really important psychological ploy that you're using, because many people, when they achieve their unachievable goals, they forget to take the moment to breathe, pause, and take it in. And all too often your brain forgets about it or filters it very, very quickly into long-term memory, or perhaps doesn't quite filter it in the way that you want it to. So make sure you take a huge breath. Picture the scene when it happened, when you overcome your goal. Hear the noises of the cars in the background, the birds tweeting, people walking around the park here. The smell of fresh grass, the oil off my bike. I'm sitting next to my bike again. And remember that feeling, remember that emotion, connect it in your head. Because I promise you, if you remember it more vividly, you'll connect that positive emotion in a way that starts to shift the fear. This is classic cognitive behavioral therapy. Refocusing your fear, refocusing that challenge into a positive. And that's why it's really important to start with a small challenge. So if you're afraid of flying, like I'm afraid of flying, don't know why, I just have been for about 5 years. I don't like the feeling of being out of control, of not controlling the aeroplane. Some disrespectfully may call me a control freak, but I'll accept that for now. I'm not particularly comfortable on trains as well. I don't like the enclosed space. So I'm working with a therapist, and the therapist has been helping me set step-by-step goals. So my first step is just to go to the train station, sit there for 20 minutes, watch the trains come and go, watch the doors opening, people getting on, people getting off, and trying to normalize it, because I'm not going to get on. I'm not going to push myself at that point. And then in a couple of weeks' time, go to the train station again and just get on the train. But get off before the train leaves. And it's these little micro mini steps that you need. Not let's jump on a plane tomorrow and go transatlantic round to Australia, because I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't get on the plane. So think about these micro steps. That's how you push through the pain. That's how you push through these challenges. As the old saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One mouthful at a time. So that's my thoughts for today, on how you push through your pain barrier, how you push your limits, how you get to the other side. I hope that was useful. Have a great day, keep in touch, and remember, stay positive. We'll do it together.